Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes the best way to be seen is to disappear, not from the world but from the noise. From the endless scrolling, the constant explaining, the distractions that keep pulling you away from who you are meant to become. What if, for once, you gave yourself 6 months not for anyone else, but just for you? 6 months to stop performing. 6 months to stop proving. 6 months to start becoming. Because when you vanish from the expectations and the chatter, you finally hear the one voice that truly matters, your own. Silence is the most powerful stage you will ever stand on. Silence, it scares people, not because it is empty, but because it is full of things they cannot control. In a world where everyone is performing, constantly talking, constantly trying to be seen, silence becomes rebellion. It becomes power because it says, I am not here to impress, I am here to transform. When you choose silence, you are not running away. You are stepping into the most sacred space you will ever know, the space between who you were and who you are becoming. In that space, there are no applause, no critics, no expectations, only truth. Most people do not give themselves permission to be quiet, to pause, to disconnect from the chaos. But silence is not passive. It is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is presence in its purest form. It is choosing to be with your own thoughts, your own fears, your own dreams without interference. And that is where the magic begins. In silence, you confront the lies you have believed, the ones that said you are not good enough, not smart enough, not ready. In silence, you hear the quiet whisper of your purpose, the kind of whisper that never shouts but always waits. It has always been there, it just got drowned in noise. When you remove yourself from constant input, opinions, likes, trends, you finally tune into your intuition. That gut feeling that always knew what was right. You begin to understand that growth is not loud. It does not require a stage or a spotlight. It requires stillness, commitment, patience. The most powerful decisions of your life will not be made in public. They will be made in silence, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when it is just you and your mirror and the question, who do I want to be 6 months from now? And the answer. It will not come all at once. It will show up in pieces, in late nights, in early mornings, in the aching parts of you that are tired of pretending. Silence teaches you to listen, not just to others, but to your soul. We have been conditioned to think that silence means we are falling behind, that if we are not posting, we are not progressing. But the truth is, your greatest progress often happens when no one sees it. When you are offline, when you are unplugged, when you are unbothered, silence is your training ground, your secret weapon. It is where you start to build muscle, mental, emotional, spiritual. You sharpen your focus. You remember your why. You cut the fluff and get real with yourself. It is not glamorous. It is not viral. But it is necessary. You may not see the results right away. That is okay. Because silence is not about speed. It is about depth. It is about doing the inner work that no filter can capture. It is about becoming the kind of person who no longer needs validation to know their value. If you are disappearing for 6 months, let silence be your soundtrack. Let it guide you, humble you, rebuild you. Because when you return, you will not be the same. You will not need to explain your silence. Your silence will explain you. Disconnection is not disappearance, it is preparation. Disconnection is often seen as a negative term, something we associate with losing touch or falling out of sync with the world around us. But what if disconnection isn't a loss? What if, instead, it is the most powerful tool you can use to prepare for the life you truly want? What if disconnecting from everything you think you know is exactly what you need to reconnect with the person you were always meant to be? In the world we live in today, we are constantly tethered to something: our phones, social media, our jobs, our families' expectations, our friends' opinions. We live in a state of perpetual connection, but in this constant connectivity, we often forget the most important relationship of all, the one with ourselves. Disconnection, then, is not about abandoning the world or running away. It is about choosing to step back so that you can step forward with greater clarity, purpose, and strength. When you disconnect, you create space, space to breathe, space to think, space to feel your own feelings without the weight of other people's thoughts and judgments on top of them. It is in this space that you can reconnect with your true self. You can hear your heart's desires without the constant noise of the outside world drowning them out. You can assess your dreams, your fears, your goals, and your values. You can take a long, hard look at where you are and where you want to go. This disconnection is a process of unlearning. It's about stripping away the layers of expectations that others have placed on you, whether they're based on societal norms, family values, or the ever-present pressure to succeed in a way that others deem acceptable. Disconnecting allows you to shed these layers and return to a place of authenticity, where you can finally hear your own voice speaking truth to you. But disconnecting is not easy. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to sit in silence and face the uncomfortable truths that you have been avoiding. It requires you to step away from the distractions and really look at what is important to you, not what others think is important. It might mean stepping back from social media, limiting your time with certain people, or even saying no to opportunities that don't align with your values or goals. Disconnection forces you to confront your fears, your insecurities, and your limiting beliefs. It challenges you to let go of everything that no longer serves you. And in that letting go, something remarkable happens. You begin to make space for new things, new ideas, new opportunities, new ways of thinking and being. Disconnection gives you the freedom to reset. It is like hitting the pause button on your life, so that you can come back with a renewed sense of purpose and direction. It is in this preparation that transformation begins. When you disconnect, you also create the time to reflect on your mistakes, learn from them, and plan for the future. Too often, we rush through life trying to keep up with everyone else, not taking the time to pause and recalibrate. Disconnection is the opportunity to do just that. It is the time to step back and evaluate what you have been doing, why you've been doing it, and whether it is in alignment with your long-term goals. But disconnection is not about running away from your problems. It is about facing them head-on from a place of strength and clarity. It is about taking responsibility for where you are, while also understanding that where you are is not where you have to stay. It is about knowing that growth requires space, and that space is only available when you disconnect from the noise. And the best part, this disconnection is temporary, it is not forever. The point is not to disappear for good. The point is to prepare yourself for something greater, to give yourself the opportunity to build a strong foundation, so that when you do reconnect with the world, you are coming from a place of authenticity, purpose, and strength. Disconnection is not an end, it is a beginning. It is the preparation you need to step into the next chapter of your life with confidence and clarity. Real peace is not found in people, but in purpose. We live in a world that constantly tells us that we need to find happiness in others. Whether it's through relationships, friendships, or the validation of our accomplishments, we are taught from a young age that peace and contentment are something we receive from others. But what if true peace does not come from the people around us? What if it comes from something deeper, something that is within us all along our purpose? When you find your purpose, you stop seeking validation from others to feel good about yourself. You no longer rely on others to define your worth. Instead, you look within, and you find that peace is not something you can give away or receive from others, it is something you already have inside. True peace is born from the understanding that your life has meaning, that every step you take, every action you make, is connected to something greater than just the momentary highs and lows of your daily existence. Purpose gives you direction, and with direction comes inner peace. When you know why you are doing something, when you understand the deeper meaning behind your actions, you can move through life with a sense of calm and confidence that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. You can face challenges without feeling lost, without feeling like you need someone else to tell you what to do. Because your purpose is your compass, and it will always point you in the right direction, even when the world around you seems chaotic. When you are connected to your purpose, you begin to feel a sense of fulfillment that no amount of praise, no matter how much love or attention you receive from others, can replace. This is not about being selfish or closing yourself off from the world. It is about understanding that your peace does not depend on the opinions or actions of others. Instead, it comes from a deeper understanding of your own path, your own journey, and your own values. People will come and go. Relationships will change. Friendships may fade, but your purpose remains constant. It is the one thing that no one can take away from you. And when you are grounded in your purpose, no external force can disrupt the peace you find within. This is where true freedom lies, freedom from the need to constantly please others, freedom from the fear of judgment, freedom from the pressure of always needing to be something you are not. It is easy to get caught up in the noise of the world, to let the expectations of others guide your decisions. But true peace comes when you stop looking outward for approval and start looking inward for meaning. It comes when you stop measuring your worth based on what others think of you, and begin to measure it based on your connection to your purpose. And in doing so, you find that you no longer need to be constantly validated. You no longer need to seek out the praise and the approval. You no longer need to rely on others to make you feel whole. In the absence of purpose, we often feel lost. We try to find peace in things, in experiences, in people. But these things are only temporary. The peace that comes from external sources is fleeting. It is only when we are aligned with our purpose that we experience a deeper, more lasting sense of peace. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you begin to move through life with a quiet confidence that can't be shaken. You learn to trust yourself and your journey. You no longer feel the need to prove anything to anyone. Real peace is not about living a life free from challenges or hardship. It is about how you respond to those challenges. When you are connected to your purpose, you understand that every obstacle, every setback is just a part of the process. It is not something to fear or avoid, but something to learn from. It is through overcoming these challenges that we grow, and it is in this growth that we find peace. So, stop looking for peace in people. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you are enough. Stop seeking validation from the outside world. Instead, look within. Look to your purpose, because when you do, you will find that real peace has always been there, waiting for you to claim it. You cannot become who you are while being who you were. Change is a necessary part of growth, but it often comes with a price. That price is the need to let go of who you were in order to become who you are meant to be. Many of us hold on to old versions of ourselves, clinging to identities, habits, and mindsets that no longer serve us. We become so attached to our past that we limit our future. But in order to evolve, you must shed the skin of the person you once were and step into the new version of yourself that is waiting to emerge. The truth is, the person you were yesterday is not the person you need to be today. The choices you made, the things you believed, and the ways you saw yourself may have brought you to this point, but they are not enough to carry you into the next phase of your life. The life you want to live requires a new set of beliefs, a new perspective, and a new approach. To become who you are meant to be, you must be willing to let go of the past and embrace the unknown. One of the hardest things we face in life is the fear of change. We become comfortable with the person we have known for so long, even if that person is not living to their full potential. It's easier to stay in a space of familiarity, even if that space is limiting. It's easier to stay in a job we don't like, in a relationship that no longer brings us joy, or in habits that keep us stuck. But the reality is, as long as we hold on to the past, we prevent ourselves from moving forward. You cannot experience true transformation if you are constantly looking back at who you were. Letting go of the old version of yourself is not about forgetting your past. It is about accepting that the past does not define your future. It is about understanding that who you were was necessary for the person you are today, but it no longer has a place in the person you are becoming. It's about having the courage to step into the unknown, to trust that who you are becoming is far more powerful and aligned with your purpose than the person you once were. In order to embrace the new version of yourself, you must first acknowledge that change is inevitable. The world is constantly shifting, and so are you. The problem arises when we resist that change, when we try to hold on to things, people, and identities that are no longer in alignment with our growth. The past is a chapter, but it does not need to be the whole story. It is easy to become trapped in the idea that who we were is who we have to be, but that is a lie. You can reinvent yourself at any time. Reinvention starts with self-awareness. It starts with the understanding that what got you to this point is not enough to get you to the next level. You have to look at your habits, your beliefs, and your environment and ask yourself, is this where I want to be? Does this version of me reflect who I want to become? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. It's time to step into the unknown and trust that the journey will lead you to exactly where you need to be. The process of transformation requires courage. It requires you to step away from old patterns, relationships, and situations that keep you tethered to a version of yourself that no longer serves you. It is a process of shedding, of letting go of what doesn't align with your future vision. It might be uncomfortable and it might feel uncertain at times, but it is in those moments of discomfort that the most profound growth happens. To become who you are, you must be willing to challenge yourself. You must be willing to step into your own potential, even when you don't yet see the full picture. This requires a willingness to trust in the process, to trust that even when things feel difficult or unclear, you are still moving forward. You are still growing, and in that growth, you are becoming the person you are meant to be. It's not an overnight transformation. It's a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and most importantly, a willingness to let go of the past. The person you were is not who you are anymore. You are constantly evolving, constantly becoming something new. The past is important, but it does not define you. Your future is not determined by who you were. It is determined by who you choose to become. Vanishing helps you reconnect with your why. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We get caught up in the chaos, deadlines, social expectations, and the pressure to keep up with everyone around us. In this constant noise, it becomes harder to hear the one thing that can guide us through it all, our why. Our why is the driving force behind everything we do, the reason we get up every morning and push forward despite the challenges. But finding and reconnecting with our why requires us to step back, to disappear from the distractions and the constant demand for our attention. Vanishing or temporarily disconnecting from the noise around us is not about escaping reality. It is about reclaiming our inner peace and clarity. It is about finding the space to reconnect with ourselves and the things that truly matter to us. When we vanish for a while, we remove ourselves from the distractions and external pressures that cloud our vision, and we create the mental and emotional space necessary to rediscover our purpose. When we are constantly surrounded by the opinions and expectations of others, it is easy to lose track of what we truly want in life. We begin to follow paths laid out for us by society, by our families, or by the people we admire. without considering whether those paths align with our true desires. Our why becomes a distant memory, drowned out by the noise of others' expectations. But when we choose to vanish, even just for a short period, we step away from these influences and create space for self-reflection. In this solitude, we can reconnect with our own values, our own dreams, and our own purpose. This reconnection with our why is crucial for living a fulfilling life. When we understand why we are doing something, when we have a clear sense of purpose, our actions take on a new meaning. We no longer move through life on autopilot, simply going through the motions to meet external expectations. Instead, we act with intention, driven by the knowledge that what we are doing aligns with our deeper purpose. This clarity is what brings us satisfaction, what allows us to persevere in the face of challenges, and what helps us navigate the inevitable obstacles we will encounter along the way. The process of vanishing also allows us to let go of the need for approval from others. We live in a world where validation often comes from outside sources, whether it's social media likes, professional accolades, or the approval of our friends and family. We base our worth on how others see us, and in doing so, we lose touch with the most important source of validation, ourselves. When we disconnect and retreat into ourselves, we stop seeking validation from external sources and start seeking it from within. We remind ourselves that our worth is not defined by the opinions of others, but by the purpose we are living out every day. Vanishing is also a time of healing. In the rush of daily life, we often push aside our emotional needs and our mental health. We ignore the small signs of burnout, stress, and fatigue, convincing ourselves that we can push through. But if we don't take the time to step back and recharge, we risk losing our connection to our purpose altogether. Taking time to vanish allows us to heal, to rest, and to replenish our energy. It gives us the chance to reflect on our experiences, learn from them, and come back stronger. It is through this healing process that we can reconnect with our why and approach life with renewed clarity and focus. Sometimes vanishing is not about escaping. It is about making a conscious decision to listen to our own hearts, to rediscover what makes us tick, and to realign ourselves with our true purpose. When we take time to step away from the demands of the world, we allow ourselves to pause, reflect, and realign our actions with our deeper values. This period of solitude allows us to refocus, to reignite our passion, and to remember why we started on this journey in the first place. In a world that constantly demands more of us, vanishing is an act of self-preservation. It is a way of protecting our mental, emotional, and spiritual health by reconnecting with what truly matters. When we make the choice to step away from the chaos, we are not abandoning the world. We are choosing to honor our inner peace and to live with purpose. And in doing so, we give ourselves the space to find our way back to our why. Vanishing helps you reconnect with your why. In our fast-paced, ever-connected world, it's easy to lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing. The noise, the distractions, the demands, it all starts to blur together, and suddenly we forget what we're truly passionate about. We forget why we started in the first place. But here's the truth. If you do not take the time to step away, to vanish for a while, you may never truly reconnect with your why. Vanishing, in this context, is not about disappearing for good, nor is it about running away from your responsibilities. It is about creating space, space to breathe, space to think, space to reflect. In that space, you can tune out the world and start listening to the one voice that truly matters, your own. Your why is the driving force behind everything you do. It is the reason you wake up in the morning, the reason you push through obstacles, and the reason you keep going even when the road gets tough. But if you never take the time to reconnect with it, you will start to operate on autopilot, simply going through the motions without the passion or clarity that comes from understanding your purpose. When you vanish from the hustle and bustle of life, You allow yourself to disconnect from the distractions that keep you from being present with your true intentions. In silence and solitude, you can hear your why more clearly than ever before. You can reflect on what really drives you, what ignites your soul, and what excites you about the future. And in that space, you can reconnect with your deepest desires, the things that are uniquely yours, that no one else can define for you. It's in the quiet moments when we are away from the external world that we realize just how far we've drifted from our original vision. We may have started our journey with a clear sense of purpose, but over time, that purpose can get clouded by the pressures of life. We start to listen to others more than ourselves, follow trends instead of our true calling, and get swept up in the expectations of those around us. Vanishing helps you break free from that cycle. It forces you to sit with yourself and ask, what is my why? What do I truly want? It forces you to reconnect with your values, your mission, and your passions, which have always been inside you, waiting to be rediscovered. This disconnection is necessary for growth. Without it, you will continue to move forward in life without purpose, simply reacting to whatever comes your way instead of proactively creating the life you desire. The time you spend vanishing, whether it's taking a break from work, retreating into nature, or simply spending time in solitude, allows you to slow down and reassess where you are. Are you aligned with your why? Are you living in a way that reflects your deepest values? Are you making decisions that move you closer to your true goals? Or are you being swept along by the currents of external pressure? In the quiet of vanishing, you come to realize that your why is not dependent on external approval or validation. It does not rely on the opinions of others. It is not something that can be given to you by the world. Your why is deeply personal. It comes from within, and when you reconnect with it, you realize that the path forward is clearer than ever before. Vanishing also allows you to reset your mindset. Often, we get so caught up in the day-to-day that we forget to check in with ourselves. We forget to ask if we're still on the path that we want to be on. Vanishing allows you to step back, reflect, and reset. It gives you the chance to let go of what is no longer serving you and focus on what truly matters. By reconnecting with your why, you are able to realign your life with your purpose and take the next steps with a renewed sense of clarity and direction. This is not just about finding a new purpose or direction. It is about remembering the purpose you've always had inside you, the one that got lost in the noise of life. Vanishing helps you clear away the clutter, the distractions, and the pressures so you can hear the truth of your own heart. And when you do that, you can move forward with confidence, knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and with a sense of peace that comes from being aligned with your true purpose. Keynote #7 expanded 600 words. The right people will respect your silence. In a world that values noise, chatter, and constant interaction, silence is often misunderstood. People may feel uncomfortable with silence, especially in a society that constantly encourages speaking up, sharing everything, and being heard at all costs. But silence is not weakness, and it is certainly not something that should be feared. In fact, silence can be one of your greatest strengths. It holds power that words can never fully capture. The right people, the ones who truly understand you, respect you, and value your presence, will not be threatened by your silence. They will appreciate it. They will see it for what it is, a moment of reflection, of inner peace, of clarity. It is not an indication of disinterest or withdrawal, but a sign of strength and self-awareness. The people who truly matter to you will respect that silence, because they understand that sometimes the most profound things are not said out loud. They know that silence can communicate far more than words ever could. In relationships, we often feel the pressure to speak, to fill the silence with words, to constantly entertain, explain, or justify ourselves. But the truth is, The people who truly value you do not need to hear from you all the time to know that you care. They understand that silence can be just as powerful as conversation. In silence, you communicate trust, comfort, and a deep understanding that does not require constant validation. The right people will respect your need for silence, knowing that it is part of your process, part of your growth, and part of your authenticity. When you choose to be silent, you are not pushing people away or rejecting them. You are simply allowing yourself the space to think, to reflect, and to process. The people who understand you will give you that space without taking it personally. They will know that your silence is not about them, it is about you. It is about respecting your own journey and allowing you the freedom to find your own voice without feeling the need to constantly respond or explain yourself. Silence also gives you the opportunity to listen. When you stop talking, you can finally hear what others are saying, truly hear them without being distracted by your own thoughts or responses. It allows you to absorb what is being communicated on a deeper level, not just the words, but the emotions, the intentions, and the truths beneath them. The people who respect your silence understand this. They know that when you are silent, you are not absent, you are present in a different way. You are listening, processing, and understanding more than what is being said on the surface. The right people will also recognize that silence is not an invitation for them to fill the space with their own words. Instead, they will meet you in the silence, offering their support and presence without overwhelming you. They will understand that sometimes you do not need anything from them except for their quiet companionship. They will sit with you, be with you, and allow the silence to speak for itself. This is the beauty of true connection, the ability to share space without the need for constant words or explanations. Your silence is a form of self-respect, and when you show respect for yourself, the right people will show the same respect for you. They will not pressure you to speak when you need space. They will understand that silence does not mean a lack of connection. It simply means that you are respecting your own need for reflection, clarity, or peace. And when you come back to them, when you are ready to share your thoughts, they will be there, ready to listen. The right people will always respect your silence, because they know that it is a reflection of your strength, your wisdom, and your journey. Growth happens in isolation, not in validation. In today's world, we are constantly seeking validation. From the number of likes on our social media, posts to the praise we receive from others for our achievements, we live in a society that thrives on external recognition. It's easy to get caught up in this cycle, to tie our self-worth to the approval of others. But here's the truth. Growth does not come from the validation of the outside world. It comes from the work you do in isolation. When you are alone, with nothing but your thoughts, your struggles, and your dreams, that is when the most profound growth occurs. It's in those moments of solitude where you are forced to confront who you really are, without the noise and distractions of external expectations. Isolation is where you develop the habits, the mindset, and the strength to grow into the person you are meant to be. Validation, on the other hand, is fleeting. It's temporary. The applause of others may feel good in the moment, but it fades. And when it fades, so does your sense of accomplishment. If your growth is based solely on external validation, you will constantly be chasing after it, looking for the next source of praise, the next sign that you are worthy. This cycle can drain you. It can leave you feeling empty and unfulfilled because deep down you know that the real work, the real transformation happens in the quiet moments when no one is watching. When you isolate yourself from the need for constant praise, you open yourself up to a deeper form of growth. Growth that is rooted in your own self-awareness, your own commitment to progress, and your own inner strength. This is the kind of growth that cannot be taken away by the opinions of others. It is the growth that comes from digging deep, from facing your fears and doubts without needing anyone else's approval. Isolation gives you the space to work on your weaknesses, to build on your strengths, and to challenge yourself in ways that validation never will. It is in the quiet moments of your life, those early mornings when you wake up before anyone else, those late nights when you are pushing through another chapter, another task, that the real work of growth happens, and no one can take that away from you. It's yours. It is built through dedication, perseverance, and self-reflection. In isolation, you have the time to truly understand what drives you, what makes you tick, what you are passionate about. It is the time to experiment, to fail, and to try again without the fear of being judged or criticized. It is in these private moments that you develop the resilience to keep going, even when the world doesn't seem to notice or care. The world may not always see your efforts, but you will, and that's what matters. This kind of growth requires patience. It's not always easy. There are days when you feel discouraged, when the lack of external feedback makes you question whether you are even moving forward. But the beauty of growth in isolation is that it doesn't depend on the speed at which others recognize it. It is about the progress you make for yourself, the small wins that add up over time. It is the quiet sense of satisfaction that comes when you know you are doing the work, even if no one else sees it yet. Growth also happens in isolation because it allows you to connect with your true self. It removes the distractions